Hi everyone, good evening, young people from Kenya. My name is Dolphin from the Greening Kenya Initiative Trust, and together with my colleague, Mr. Charles Lucania, we've been seeking to launch. This is the first session of a series of webinar focused on youth in climate change in Kenya at the county level. So the main topic of discussion today is basically to unpack issues of climate change during this COVID-19 pandemic with a focus on the grassroots, so which is a focus on the county level. So with us, I'll give my colleague Charles to introduce himself. Charles? Okay, Charles seems to be having a bit of technical issues. So I will, in the interest of time, I'd like to inform all of us that today we have a rich panelist. We have a young person who has done a lot in the county of Nakuru. We also have another young lady, Miss Juliet, from the county of Vihiga. We also have Enoka from the county of Kisumu. So without further ado, I'd like to ask each one of our panelists, starting from Juliet, to introduce herself, to tell the audience what she does in relation to climate change and how it has affected, how she's able to work with the county government and also issues of climate change. So Juliet, and then we go to Enoka, then we go to Jackson. Juliet?
Thank you, Dolphin. Hi, my name is Juliet Ajema from Vihiga County. My background is climate change and development, and currently I work with SOFDI, that is Sustainable Organic Farming and Development Initiatives. I'm in charge of a project called WISER for its weather and climate information services. How it's related to climate change is that we provide weather and climate information to our farmers so that they can adapt to climate change events. We build their resilience so that they can have improved crop production and at the same time try to adapt to the changing climate. In Vihiga County, we are providing information to more than 20,000 farmers. We also work with schools to create more awareness on climate change. We also train farmers in the areas of climate change. And we also work with the Kenya Meteorological Department because there is where we get weather climate information to disseminate to the entire community in Vihiga County. And with the county climate change, we have worked with them in terms of formulating the climate change policy. Vihiga County has already developed a climate change policy. We worked with stakeholders like SOFDI. And right now, we are here because we are now looking at the Climate Change Act and also in the process of developing a climate change directorate, where now we can now implement all the activities with related to climate change.
Thank you, Juliet, for that very wonderful introduction. Next, I'd like to give Mr. Jackson the floor to introduce himself, where he's from, what he does in relation to climate change, and how he's working with his other young people on issues of climate change. So, Jackson, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Dolphin, for the introduction. My name is Jackson Kinyanjui. I'm the founder of Climate Change Kenya organization, which is an organization whose main purpose, when I formed it 7 years back, was to actually disseminate or to put a platform whereby I can actually pass climate change awareness information to all the youths and all the people who are around, because I found there was a gap in terms of accessing the youths, who majority of them, they were glued to their social medias accounts. So you find that these are the youths are the ones who are actually having the burden of disseminating this information to all the farmers around. And most of the youths nowadays, they are the farmers. So me using this platform, it was a way of reaching these youths, and I can say it has worked out well. Having whereby I have a huge following, be it on Twitter, on Facebook, and I can be able to mobilize these youths at any moment in time. In Nakuru County, where I am right now, I can say that the county has been very engagetive in terms of the youth approach. And recently, I can say I was awarded the Youth Environmental Award 2020 by the county government of Nakuru. This was in light of the efforts that my organization and many other organizations have been doing in terms of tree planting, in terms of cleanup, in terms of creating awareness, all these activities, all with the purpose of creating awareness environmentally and climate change. Going back now to the education aspect, I have done a bachelor's in geography and biology. I'm a holder of 2 master's degrees, one from Kenyatta University in climate change, in climatology, and another master's degrees from Uppsala University in Sweden in earth science and GIS. And currently, I'm a PhD scholar pursuing agroclimatology in Beijing, China, in Graduate School of Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences. So I think this platform served me well, so that I can actually exchange ideas between one county and the other and see where we can actually bridge the gaps, if there are any. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jackson. I see Robert from Tana River has joined us. I see Enoka is having a bit of technical issues. So, Robert, I'll give you the floor to basically introduce yourself, who you are, your county, where you work, and how you engage with young people, and how what you do relates to issues of climate change. So, Robert, the floor is yours. Please unmute. Yes.
Yes, sorry for that. My name is Madubi Robert from Tana River County. I work with Green Village for Empowerment Foundation here in the region. And what we do basically on climate change, we have various activities geared to environment and climate change. One of them is empowerment, environmental empowerment, which we closely work with the youth and also farmers from the region. And on farming, we try to give input and advisories on climate smart because this region has a lot of challenges in regard to climate. We have had floods, we have had droughts. So it's quite challenging to many here, but we also give the platform of youth who want to get engaged on environmental matters, a platform also to work on that side. And also, as a foundation, we have a program of greening Tana. Basically, it's a project also to see how best we can bring other type of tree rather than the madenges, which have caused violence to the livestock and people also. Also, do away with the shrubs and everything. So that's from my side, Delphine. Helmet.
Oh, I can thank you very much. Enoka, the floor is
Kindly
yours.
unmute
Please
your
introduce
microphone.
yourself. Yes. Yes. Enoka, the floor is yours.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. My name is Enoch Odongo. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, yes, we can hear you. Kindly go on.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. My name is Enoch Odongo. I'm a youth from Kisumu County, and I hold bachelor degree in environmental conservation and natural resource management from the University of Nairobi. And I've also served as the chairperson of Kenya Inter-University Environmental Student Association. And this is a student body that majorly deals on advocacy of climate change and environmental matters in Kenya and in various campuses across the country. I currently serve as program manager to a community-based organization here in Kisumu County. That is a Rise and Shine Care Center community-based organization. And one of the activities that we do here encompasses environmental conservation and matters climate change. And I've also served as a regional ambassador to a United-based organization called Net Impact, where we also advocated on matters climate change, working closely with the student bodies across the country. And what we do here at Matters Climate Change and Environmental Conservation at my organization that I serve with is we train community on climate smart farming. So my organization earlier this year initiated a program called Climate Smart Farm. And this is a demonstration farm that we use to train community members and our members on climate smart farming. As you know, many in this area, many people are dependent on rain-fed agriculture. But moving forward with food insecurity and food crisis that has hit us amid this COVID-19 pandemic, issues of food insecurity that has hit across. So our program here has been offering training, on-site training and hands-on training to community members, youth groups that have been engaging in agriculture. So at least people can do climate smart agriculture rather than depending on the rain for agriculture. So in a nutshell, that's what we've been able to do here at my organization and also in the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Enoka. Thank you, and all our speakers for that very wonderful set of introduction. I think, in the interest of time, we just jump straight right into the question. So the first question. Recently, the CS Environment, Honorable Keriako Tobiko, urged youth to take action on climate change and plant trees across the country. Because in his perspective, and from what we all know, we the young people, we are the ones who are going to need that climate action more than any other generation. In your opinion, having worked, I know you come from Nakuru, there's Vihiga, there's Kisumu, there's Tana River. Is there an enabling environment for young people to actually take action on climate change? What do I mean by enabling environment? Is there, first of all, is there a relationship between the young people and basically the policymakers, like the county governments and other organizations that could potentially help young people to effectively address issues of climate change? And the other set of questions, is there in terms of enabling environment, are there any other factors that you know of within your counties that may hinder other young people within your counties from taking action on climate change? So with this, I think I will start with Juliet. Please unmute yourself. Unmute. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. In Vihiga, we have a county climate change planning committee. First, we have already developed a climate change act, And we are also in the process of developing a climate change directorate or department at the county. And then we also have a county climate change planning committee, which is or will oversee establishment of ward planning committees. And in each committee, we'll have a youth representative. And those are the people who are going to be coming up with proposals for projects to be implemented. And those proposals will be done at the county level by the county that is under the ward level. So there we have the youths having an enabling environment where they can uh, do action for climate change. And then gaps, we need more sensitization and more capacity building to the youth to make them aware of those resources that they can potentially use them. And that means that is the gap that we are seeing, that if we can try to bridge that gap, then the youth can be in a position to do climate action. And then we also need awareness in terms of helping the youth to understand their roles in climate action. We also need training to the youth so that they can know the nomination criterias. Are we together?
Yes, you're missing you, but you can repeat the last statement.
Okay, let me start from the gaps. I've said areas where maybe we need to bridge are on capacity building and capacity building, sensitization, and awareness to the youth, because they need to understand their roles in climate action. We also need to sensitize more youth so that they can raise their voices and demand their space in the climate action. And that means we need also to sensitize them and educate them so that they can know, for them to be among the committee, the youth representative committees, then they need to know the nomination criterias that they need to have for them to be among the committees that I had talked of. Mm, I don't know if I've answered all the questions, and Dolphin, you can just.
Yes, I think you've done a great job with it. And it's actually good to know that the county has actually decided to engage young people at the world level, because most of the time we find, even in this event, in some platforms at the national level, there's not much youth representation or youth engagement. So with that, thank you very much, Julia, for that wonderful elaboration. I'll push it straight to Tana River County. Could you just tell us, is there an enabling environment in Tana River County for young people to actively engage on issues of climate change and environmental conservation and protection? Yes, Robert, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. About Tana River, I'll specifically maybe talk about the youth and their engagement, and then just talk a little about the county. So about the youth, we have, in terms of gaps, we have so many, because one, we have institutional gaps, because currently, I might say, we have fewer youth environmentalists in the area who pioneer environmental agendas or matters, and who are fighting maybe for climate change. So we are missing the platforms or institutions that empower youth or give knowledge to the youth on environmental matters. That's one. Two, we have the poverty levels, because currently many youth, maybe they are engaging themselves in burning charcoal. So it's hard for someone who burns charcoal for a living to become an environmental champion, because when he or she switches to that side, now the family maybe might sleep hungry. So you found that we have these activities that really are input to our livelihood, then that we cannot now divert to be champions, which now it needs impact from a higher level, that the youth now are engaged more and they are given avenues to now move from burning charcoal as a source of income to adoring planting trees. That's another. On the county part, they have really done quite some good job in terms of planting trees and other environmental matters awareness. Like now at Hola, there is national park that is coming up, uh, and the youth are the ones who are taking charge. They make sure maybe they water the trees, they make sure maybe the place is clean. So the youth is engaging, the county is engaging the youth in terms of environmental agendas. But what Julius said, I have not seen much on the county engaging the youth, maybe environmentalists, to now on to sit down on making policies, which is something that I really look forward to see that now the county are taking in youth to share ideas on what next for our maybe climate change and environment issues. But we are getting to that. And what you have said about the CS, we think it should start like the program Kazi Mitaani. Now Kazi Mitaani switches to now paying the youth, empowering them to plant more trees and making sure that the trees grow. Not that we are cutting madenges, but also we are planting other trees that can beautify our places, maybe. So it's we should move to a upper way of thinking now, to see that we can shift from now the youth cleaning the street now to be planting trees and being paid for what they are doing, not telling them also just plant trees for your future lives or the future generation. So it's something that we are looking forward and to engage with the county government, because there are so many youth groups who engage themselves in environmental agendas. Yes.
Thank you very much for that wonderful elaboration of Tana River. And one can clearly get a depiction where two counties vary. If you compare Vihiga and Tana River, there's that engagement up to the committee level where the youth get to bring their voices at
Yes.
the table. Yes, which Tana River is something that I think they will inculcate with time. We are very positive about it. So with that, like to hand over to my colleague Charles to introduce the other two speakers to basically elaborate on the state of enabling environment. Charles?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles Lucania. I am a trained environmentalist from KU. I did environment education, BSc, and I am a green champion with the Greening. I'm the admin secretary and we are happy to have this climate change series talk. So we will move to introduce the two other speakers, Jackson Kinyanjui. I
Yes, can you hear you?
so
Thank you
is
for
there yes, is there a platform where the youth who really uh, can be able to come together in the county and share what they have for a greener county? Is there like a platform where the youth who really are in the forefront of climate change in the county can be able to come together and share what they have for a greener county?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question, Charles Lucania. I've listened to the other previous hosts talking about their counties, and it is very commendable what I've heard from them. Speaking on environmental matters and climate change on Nakuru County, first of all, I can say that the county government of Nakuru, in leadership of the governor, that is Lee Kinyanjui, he has put the youth in a very huge pedestal, and I am a huge testament to this. Since, as I said earlier, I was awarded the Youth Environmental Award 2020 on 12th August, that is during the Youth International Day. And this one is a testament that the youth are actually being considered, putting into mind that the population, Nakuru County is the fourth populous county in Kenya. That is after Nairobi, we have Kakamega, and then Kiambu, and then Nakuru. Nakuru is number 4 with a population of 2.1 million. And in this 2.1 million, the population of Nakuru, a huge percentage is formed by the youth. 51% of that population, 51% are below the age of 20 years, and 71% are below the age of 30 years. So this one tells you that 70% of the population are youthful, that is, they are below the age of 30 years, and the county has invested so much on the youth in terms of, one, having a directorate or a fully fledged department that is actually mandated with the youth, that is known as the youth and the gender. So it is so we have a fully fledged department of issues concerned with the issues of the youth, and every year round they are able to award youths on various platforms, and this has been able to encourage so many youths in Nakuru County. Going back to the platform and how are the youths able to come together and maybe share ideas, I can say there are various platforms in Nakuru County. Mine is just one of them, that is climatechangekenya.org. It's just one of the organizations. And in this organization, we're able to discuss, we're able to share, we're able to exchange ideas. And the Department of Energy, the Department of Water, Environment, Energy, and Natural Resources is open to the youth. Every month or every year, they have a budget set aside whereby they actually take the youth, they engage the youth in contracts, kind of job engagements. The youths are given, in fact, during this COVID era that we are in, the youths have actually been engaged in high levels in Nakuru County. They have been given jobs in terms of the Kazi Mtaani. They have already been engaged by the county even before, when it comes to even maintaining the vegetation, maintaining the grass in the area. So the youths have actually been considered highly in the county. And on that point, I can say that the county is heading on the right trajectory, but more needs to be done. More needs to be done in terms of considering that these youths are some of the highly affected in terms of climate change. If we don't safeguard them, if we don't make them aware of what is the meaning of climate change and the effects that they come with, then the future generation will be at risk. So on that point, let me end it on that by saying that Nakuru County has done a great deal in terms of engaging the youths, in terms of awarding them and recognizing their efforts. And that is the direction that I wish all the other counties should follow. Thank you on that.
Thank you very much, Jackson. And we will get back to what more needs to be done, how much the youths need to clearly project what they want to foresee to be done and present to the authorities. We invite Enoch Odongo to speak on the platforms that the county has provided and how the young people are getting together to utilize these spaces. Welcome. Enoch. Can you hear me? I think Enoch has a challenge. Juliet, you have something to speak on that. Juliet, as you wait on Enoch to get back. Yes, welcome.
Maybe I could just add on another gap that if it's addressed, then the youth will have an enabling environment in Viga County. And we need also a donor fund, because these activities that need to be conducted, if we are supported with funds, then that means we can effectively implement some of these activities, and we could also be in a better position where we can also raise our voices as youth. Apart from the frameworks and the committees that have been put in place where youth can perform climate action.
Thank you very much. Robert, do you have something to speak for Tana River?
Something that I can add on that. Also, Jackson has highlighted it. We need to work like intercounties in terms of these climate change agendas. For example, I can talk to Kinyanjui maybe for this climate change day. Maybe you can decide to come to Tana River. We do an activity here. Then maybe for the next activity, we plan to go to maybe another county to do activity there for like climate awareness or environmental awareness. So it's something that also we need to create platforms for us, or enabling environment for us as Kenyans youth. Something that I can add on.
Just one thing, Juliet, you were talking of these nomination criteria for the young people to be part of these climate change committees. What are these requirements? Are they too ambitious?
Okay, I could not talk about the nomination criteria now, but in the next platform.
Okay.
Yes.
I think,
Thank you.
yeah, to my co-host Charles, I actually love the direction that the discussions have taken. And I think in the interest of time, we could just, as we wait for Enoch, because I think there's a bit of technical issues down in Kisumu, we are hoping he will be able to sort them out shortly. If you could just jump into the next set of questions, and this one is specifically targeted at you, Robert, from Tana River. We all know that the most obvious effect of climate change is rising of seawater because of the melting of ice cap. And Tana River happens to be not only an Essex county, but also a coastal county that is connected to the coast. So, and your county faces the challenge of seawater intrusion, which has affected the livelihoods of the community. Maybe in just a few minutes, could you kindly explain to us how has this challenge of seawater intrusion affected the livelihood of the community that live along the coastal community within Tana River, and what efforts has been done or are being done by either the government or the other stakeholders to try and at least address this challenge of seawater intrusion? Robert?
Yes, thank you so much, Dolphin. On that, mostly those who are around the coastal lines are farmers. And people here rely on farming in small scale and also in large scale. So it has caused now the immediate fertile soil on the region to be more salty that cannot yield anything in terms of agriculture. So it's really something that is affecting the people here, and it is their cry that the national government, together with county government and other partners, to come on board actually to help, because it's not really rising once, it's now rising in a daily basis, and the immediate soil has happened to not support agriculture. And for on the side of what the national government or the county government have done in terms of helping that sector, I haven't done a lot of research on that, because I've not had anything happening. But my hope is that the county government itself is intervening to help the people living on the coastal area. And also, it has caused a soil degradation, which will really affect the coming generation, because now the water is causing, what can like pushing people from doing agriculture on the riverbanks now to come on higher grounds. So we are waiting to get information in terms of big magnitude, not maybe the small intervention of food supply or relief food supply to help the people living around that region. We are helping the government can intervene in more bigger magnitude to help those people.
Thank you very much, Robert. And it's interesting to know that it's actually affecting their livelihoods in terms of agriculture, because we know that most communities in Kenya and in Africa rely on agriculture as their basket. So it's quite interesting, and it actually portrays the real time effects of climate change. It's like we're watching climate change unfold as it is, and I'm sure that the county government will and other stakeholders are on their way to making the relevant interventions. So with that, I think I'll hand over to Charles so that we save a bit on time.
Yeah.
Charles?
Yes, thank you, Dolphin and Robert, for talking about Tana River. I will go to Jackson and ask a question. Nakuru County is one of the counties that is described by Clay as being on the forefront in addressing climate change in their process of developing sustainable energy and climate action plan. Beyond the development of this plan, what has been the key achievements in terms of climate action that the county has successfully implemented, and what has been the role of youth in those actions? Uh, Jackson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. And it's good that you have noted that Nakuru County is among, not even among, it is the top counties in terms of
Yeah.
renewable energies. And before I go into that, let me just give you a brief history of so that our audience can actually get the bigger picture of what our topic of today will be geared towards. Uh, UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, has alluded to the fact that 2020 is the best year for us to start our reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. That is a 7.6% greenhouse gas emission every year from today, 2020, so that we can achieve the target of maintaining our temperatures at a level of below 1.5 degrees centigrade by 2030. So that one tells you that we need to pull up our socks in terms of engaging ourselves in programs that are aimed towards green energy. Also, on the same note, let me just give you another overview that when it comes to just a minute, let me plug in my laptop. Yes, sorry for that. The laptop was almost dying. So what I'm saying is that in terms of green energy and clean energy, right now we are saying that when you use, because majority of Nakuru County, the residents that we have, almost 60% of them are low income earners. And when you have a low income economy, it tells you that they will move towards an energy source that is cheap, that is available to meet their daily needs. And which is this cheap and available source of energy? Here we're talking about charcoal, and we're talking about the use of wood. And these are some of the carbon emitters, because the trees and the woods we are talking about, they are carbon sinks. But once you start burning them and using them in terms of all these ways, it releases this carbon. So in reality, what I'm telling you is that Nakuru County is at the forefront of that. And that is why globally, Kenya as a whole has been ranked as #1 in Africa in terms of renewable energies. And also, it has been ranked as #5 in the world in terms of renewable energy. That one tells you that Nakuru County has played a huge role in Kenya being #1 in Africa in renewable energy and #5 globally in renewable energy. Let me support my point by saying that Nakuru County, #1, it has the largest geothermal energy power plant in Kenya, and more so in Africa. That is the one in Olkaria. #2, Nakuru County has the largest biogas plant in Africa, the largest biogas plant in Africa, which is able to recycle more than 50,000 wastes and producing almost 2.4 megawatts of power. So when you put all this together and also put in mind that Nakuru County hosts the Mau Forest. So in terms of tree cover, right now I can say I'm happy that Nakuru County is approaching the 10% recommended tree cover. We are close to 10%. That is at a strong 9.7%, which is very strong. So in terms of clean energy and renewable energy, I can say that Nakuru is at the forefront of that. And maybe let me not allude to the point whereby we have the Sustainable Energy and Climate Change Action Plan, because there's a point on that on the agenda. But all I can say is that Nakuru County has provided enough platform on that. We have enough renewable energy sources. And I can say that in Kenya, Nakuru County is the lungs, or Nakuru County are the lungs of Kenya. You are the ones who are actually absorbing all these carbon emissions from all the other counties, if there are any, and then you are emitting clean energy and oxygen at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jackson. I like the way you're driving discussions towards the 10% forest cover and renewable energy and emissions. But we must also remember that there are other counties like Garissa and Turkana who have contributed to Kenya being on the map on renewable energy because of the wind and the largest wind and solar power plants. But it's actually quite impressive what Nakuru is doing. And when I like the way we start discussing about which county is emitting more or which is absorbing more carbon, it shows that there is a bit of progress in exactly where we're going. So on this issue of climate change, and I'm hoping we'll get to a point where we can start debating on who emitted what and who needs to do what, so that we basically get to localize the UNFCCC common but principle of common but differentiated responsibility and respective capability, so that whoever emits more as a county gets to take more action. So I think without further ado, I'll skip over to Juliet. Juliet, I have a question. We recently found out that your county has set aside 2% of its budget to go into the county climate change fund. So it is among the first counties after Makueni and Wajir and others are still following up to have set aside this sort of references. So in your opinion, from where you sit, is there capacity by basically young people, because you told us we have young people engaged at these committee levels of these planning meetings of climate change, and we're being told that the government has the county government has set aside 2% of its budget to go to addressing issues of climate change. Is there capacity by young people and the community to access and utilize these resources? And if in case there is, we've lost Julia, in case there is capacity or there isn't much capacity, what are the gaps and what needs to be addressed? We seem to have lost Juliet because of, I think, issues of technical issues. But this is something that we can all discuss at the national level. We know that
Yeah.
we have the National Climate Change Fund. We also have a few counties, like we've seen Vihiga, we know Makueni has set aside some resources to basically address this issue. So Juliet is a bit. So Juliet, are you able to effectively just inform us? Is there capacity? Is it first of all, is it true that your county is setting aside 2% of its budget to go to county climate change fund? And is there capacity by young people in the community to access these resources? Juliet.
Yes, yes, we have. The county has set aside 2% of its to go to climate change. It has set aside 2% of its fund to go to climate change. And as I had said earlier, we have capacity because we have frameworks in place that support those ideas. And that means even in implementation, because we have frameworks and then we have capacity to implement those actions.
Okay, thank you very much, Juliet. I feel like climate finance is a bit of a very heavy topic because it's a means of implementation, because we cannot say we're addressing climate change when it basically sets the enabling environment resources. So in your opinion, this question goes back to the rest of you, Jackson and Robert. If Nakuru County were to set aside some resources right now, just they put it on paper, and Tana River could set aside some resources right now and put it on paper that you're setting about this percentage of our budget to go to address the issue of climate change. Do you think your county has capacity, your county to mean young people and also the community has the capacity to, first of all, access and utilize these resources for effective climate action? I'll start with Jackson, then over to Robert.
Thank you so much for that question. And let me say, Vihiga County is also doing very well. If they have set aside 2% of their budget to climate change, that is very, very good. Nakuru County, on the same note, has set aside a 1% budget on climate change and environmental matters. The reason being that since milestones have been made, huge milestones have been made in terms of renewable energy and all that. So the 1% is sufficiently enough, because where we are just trying to fill, or to just fill the small gaps which are there in terms of creating awareness, in terms of engaging the stakeholders. So yes, that's a good track, or a good direction that the county is taking together with Vihiga County. So on that note, yes, the funds are there. They have been set aside. And are the funds able to reach the common mwananchi on the ground, or those stakeholders who are actually mandated with the work of protecting the environment and the climate? Yes, they are. And as I said earlier, we have a department, a fully fledged department of environment. And this department of environment is the one that is mandated with the task of actually looking into projects that are geared towards environmental conservation and climate change awareness. And if such a project arises, a budget is drafted on the same, it is passed because funds are there, and it is implemented. Because as I said earlier, climate change and the flooding effect, the question you had posed to Robert, it is affecting us in Nakuru County. No, not more or less in terms of the melting of the ice, be it in the Greenland and the Arctic. We are having other impacts which now accelerate the climate change phenomenon. That is in terms of land use changes. Land use changes here, I'm talking about what happens upstream in the catchment areas in terms of deforestation, in terms of poor kind of farming and all that. And also we are talking about the tectonic and the geologic activities. Just some few weeks ago, 1 month ago, the guys in Mombasa, Robert, those areas, they were able to witness some tectonic activities. So yes, Nakuru County has been experiencing the same. We have had the same, whereby the water levels in Nakuru County have been increasing. And this one, maybe I'll talk about it as we move on in terms of the lakes, what has happened. But Nakuru County is at the forefront of that. They have set aside funds in terms of tree planting activities so that we can reach the 10% tree cover. So yes, the funds are reaching the people on the ground. The funds are able to be accessed by those who are willing and able. And if you think you're a private organization and you have an idea, just write a proposal, present it to the environmental department. They will hear you out, and then a budget will be allocated for the same. So yes, I can say the funds are there and they are reaching the common mwananchi on the ground. Thank you so much.
Jackson, just one question before we hand over to Robert. So Robert, sorry for interrupting. You've said if you have an
Yes.
idea, draft a
Yes.
proposal and submit
Yes.
to the county government. Is it assume theoretically that I may be at the grassroots, maybe I am an old woman, maybe I dropped out of school and I may not have the capacity to basically, I do not have the knowledge to basically put down on paper a proposal, and I am in dire need of assistance to address my climate change issues, maybe my farm, and I need assistance on climate smart agriculture. How would that work for me? Because you say this is are there, draft a proposal, take to the county, but I don't even have the capacity to put down a proposal. How would you help me? Assume that, forget about you and me on the webinar who have at least gone to school and we've gone to university. Think about the person who maybe dropped out in class 2 or maybe class 1, who never went to school. How would this work out for them?
Thank you so
Jackson,
much for
yes.
the question. Thank you so much for the question. And all I can say is that the devolution that we have has made it easier. It has even devolved the responsibilities from the national government to the county governments. And with the devolution, it means that the common mamamboga does not need to follow a long channel so that their problem can be actually be materialized by the national government. So devolution has made it possible for Nakuru County to reach the mamamboga. How? We are having agricultural officers, field officers, who actually engage with these farmers on a day-to-day basis. That is, sometimes they have all these workshops, they hold these kamkunjis, they talk to them. And remember that during these discussions, the farmers are able to share their concerns. And what happens here? The field officers, they take notes, they take cognizance of the issues that are happening on the ground. After that, they write a report. The report is now presented to the concerned departments, and the concerned departments now act upon that. So yes, so everybody is catered for, be it the ones, the mama mboga, and those who are you're calling the elite, or those who are educated more so or less. So yes, we are working together. And who are working in between, apart from the government working in between, as the conduit between the mama mboga and the county, we are having organizations like Climate Change Awareness Kenya, which is my organization here, and so many others. These organizations also are able to reach the mama mboga. They get their problems, they draft a report. Like for me, you can even draft a proposal depending on the problems that the farmers are experiencing. Like, let me just indulge you just 1 minute by saying that the last research which I did a research on climate change, the effects of climate variability on maize in Nakuru County in Bahati. And for me to do that research, it was actually pushed by the problems the farmers were facing. Some of them approached me, they said, the maize has been declining over the years. What is the reason for this? Some of them, they were saying it's climate change. Some of them, they were saying it's the seeds. So I thought it wise to do that research. I got the funding from private organizations and all that, and results are there. The paper is published. You can just search it online. You'll find it. So all I can say is that Mama Mboga is catered for, and all those who are also in the high class, they are catered for in that manner.
Thank you very
Over
much,
to Charles.
Jackson. I will welcome Enoch, who has had a challenge on the internet. Enoch, karibu sana. Kisumu County is considered as one of the counties in Kenya to be ahead in terms of climate change policy formulation. I understand you have a climate change directorate and directly under the office of the governor. Is this true? And if so, how is the county government looking to address the issue of the swelling of Lake Victoria? Welcome.
Charles, apologies on Enoka's behalf. I think he's having a bit of technical issues. I even spoke to him earlier. I
Okay.
think there's a bit of network issues. Maybe we could we could give Robert to answer the same question that we asked Jackson. If maybe the county of Tana River were to get signed, let's say today, they say, I don't know, 40% of the budget is going to climate change and environment. Are people ready? Are the communities ready to access these resources? Are the young people ready?
As thank you, Dolphin, for that question. As I said earlier, we have several challenges, but of course, through the youth groups, the youth are ready, because also I can assure you that on the climate smart program, the youth have really engaged the Ministry of Agriculture in way to now get the funding and do agriculture as a group, because that is what is encouraged. And if the money was to be made available today by the county of Tana River, be sure that the awareness that we always create, that the youth should engage the county government now to take part in the environmental matters or climate change matters, they will take them. The only thing that will be required by the county, which has been done through the environmental officers and agricultural officers, to create the awareness and capacity building in terms of what can it be done to make Tana River great, and also to usefully spend the money that maybe is made available. Because as much as we talk about the funding made available, a group can take the money and decide to do their own activity without an aim of maybe improving climate change or doing something on climate change. So it's not about also how maybe how many money or funding is there, but now how can they well contribute with that towards climate change.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Robert.
you.
That was very elaborate. Charles?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
Is
it's
it
thank
perfect.
you,
okay?
Robert. Yes, yes, it is okay. Perfect. Juliet, do you have something to add on that? What is the case for Vihiga?
For Vihiga, what I can for sure say is we've not been having a directorate, and it's now when the county is putting up a directorate on climate change, a department on climate change, and with that, we are sure that the youth are going to be able to come up with proposals that are addressing climate change in their areas. For example, when we come to Vihiga, we have issues of landslides, we have issues of health issues that are related to floods. We also have issues of thunderstorms and hailstorms. And I'm sure as soon as the county now sets up a climate change department, then those issues are going to be well addressed, and those are going to be addressed through the youth. And it's by coming up, these are going to be coming up with proposals through the youth representatives who are going now to forward them to the county, and then the county will be implementing them through the ward at the ward level. Yes.
Thank you very much. We really look forward to that kind of engagement at the grassroots level. So this one is for all the presenters. Kenya is in the process of reviewing its NDC. In your opinion, do you think Kenya met its NDC that it set in 2015? And how how has your county government been engaged in the NDC revision processes? Has there been any engagement of the youth from your county in the NDC process? And final, what approach is being used to bring those who have passion for environment to assist and share their skills in uh, in some of the climate change activities? Yes. Jackson, you can go first on
Yes.
this.
Thank you so much for the question. And
Yeah.
the point here is that when you come to the nationally determined contributions, and also just taking you back to the recently released National Climate Change Action Plans 2018-2022, it actually alluded to the same. And I think the biggest shortcoming we had when it came to the climate, the county integrated development plan of 2013-2017, it failed to link climate change issues such as food production, such as infrastructure, such as forest and degradation. And this has been one of the biggest shortcomings, that when that plan was being developed, it overlooked. It didn't cater for climate change, and now climate change is here with us. But now I can say that looking into the climate, the county integrated development plan 2018 2022, it has now taken all those shortcomings of the earlier county integrated development plan by now implementing this aspect of climate change by setting aside a budget, which I said it was a 1% budget, which is there, and also looking into the adaptation and the mitigation aspect of it. So in reality, I can tell you that the nationally determined contributions that we have Yes and no, in terms of have they met their goal, and have they not met their goal? Because we cannot actually throw out the baby and the water at the same time. We there's some good out of it, and the good is that the like the 10% tree cover which was implemented, because remember the nationally determined contributions here, our main aim was to attain a low carbon emissions. And a low carbon emission here, I mean an economy that can be self-sustaining, that is self-resilience in terms of being free from carbon emissions. So yes, I can say that we're heading to that trajectory of attaining the 10% recover, because this is one of the mandates that is there. And one of the main goals of especially the National Climate Change Action Plan was to attain a low carbon emission. So yes, but the only shortcoming I've seen here is that we are having this silo effect. The silo effect here I'm talking about, most of the counties are working on themselves. When you're talking about even these youth groups that we are having, most of them don't want to share ideas. And I think this platform has come in handy in terms of we're able to share ideas with Tana River, we're able to share ideas with Vihiga. In fact, Vihiga, the other time, there's somewhere I read a report whereby it has a department now of GIS, and GIS is very fundamental in terms of being able to look into the problems that are affecting any kind of problem, bit land use cover and all that. So technology has been absorbed. So all I can say is that the reports, be it the NDCs and all that, they need to put this aspect of technology. They need to incorporate this, because the shortcoming of climate change was now rectified. Now we need to rectify the problem of technology, because they have not embraced technology in the fight against climate change and in environmental conservation. So on that note, I can say that the NDCs, they are positive. I can give them a strong 6, but the other 4 we can still work on it. So there's no winner and loser when it comes to the fight against climate change, because maybe what I can tell you is that
Do you see,
yes.
do you see like involvement of young people in the NDC? Are they aware of the need for reduced emissions, and what activities or actions contribute to the NDC process?
Yes, I can say that
Are the youth aware?
yes, the youth are aware. And let me trickle down to where I am right now in terms of the county integrated development plan. Nakuru County has put the youth at the forefront, and that's why whenever you have all this, whenever there are these kind of hot topics where they touch on the youth, there's youth engagement to get their views so that their points can be taken across. Because I can tell you this, we don't need to prepare, we don't need to prepare the future for the youths. We need to prepare the youths for the future. So it is the youths who are supposed to be prepared so that they can actually take charge of the future, not the other way around, whereby we are trying to prepare the future for them. It is the youth who should be prepared to take charge of their future.
Thank you very much. I will invite Juliet to take the floor.
Um, if Kenya has met, I'd say that on mitigation, not really. We are at least because we've done some work on clean and green energy. We've also done some good work on clean energy technologies, expansion of wind, solar energy production, and clean energy technologies. We've at least done something on that. And also on climate smart agriculture, the country has also done some good work, because we've seen that in most counties we have the climate smart agriculture project, and yes, but when it comes to the adaptation part, I'd say that the country has really done some good work, because we have seen that we have policies at national level, and we also have policies now coming up in the county levels. We also have now counties coming up with climate change departments. We also have counties setting up, starting from the national government and now to the counties. They're also setting up budgets to the climate change, climate action. We also have, when it comes to climate information at right from the national government and the county. We also have the Kenya Meteorological Department has been put at the county level, and it is providing information to the entire community. So the nation, when it comes to maybe rating, I'd say that mitigation part, we are still low in achieving that. But when it comes to adaptation, we put a lot of strength on the adaptation part. And then you also asked about if the county has, how my county as Vihiga has also, if it has been engaged in the review process of the NDC. I'd say we have not yet done a lot on that, but we are also coming up with, for example, the 10% forest cover. Right now, the county has signed with the Kenya Forest Services, and we are coming up with, we are trying to come up with a strategy where we can raise the forest cover of the county by working together with the Kenya Forest Services. And when it comes to also 10% forest cover, we have a lot of sensitization and awareness going on to the community to try and integrate the agroforestry system in their planting, and that is especially in the agriculture part. When it comes to climate information services and the environment, the county is working together with other stakeholders in trying to provide access to weather and climate information services to the community, because we've seen the backbone of the nation and the county is agriculture. And if we don't have food, then people will go hungry. And we've seen that the Kenya Meteorological Department is also in partnership with other stakeholders to try and avail this climate information to to many people as possible, so that they can be able to plan ahead of, let's say, the season, prepare when it comes to agriculture, improve their crop production, build their resilience to climate change. We also have, I've talked of climate risks like floods. We have climate risks like floods, landslides, and hailstorms. The Kenya Meteorological Department is also providing information that touches on that, so that the communities can be able to adapt to climate change. That is for the CIS.
I'm sorry, Juliet is having a bit of technical issues. I think there's network issue. Yes, she should be
Yes.
back.
When it's still on the CIS, we are
Yes.
Juliet,
also,
proceed. Welcome. Continue.
the Kenya Meteorological Department is also working together with the county to come up with the climate information services plan, and this is going to help in disseminating weather and climate information to as many people as possible. When you talk of numbers, we have over 20,000 farmers benefiting from this information, and then more people in the community are really benefiting from this information. So once we have a climate information services plan, we are going to do more as a county in availing those information. We also have, when it comes to mainstreaming climate climate change into the CIDP, the county has also incorporated. We are also incorporating all issues to do with all matters to do with the climate change into the county integrated development plan and even the annual development plan. And as the county, each department is also within the county. We have the agriculture and so forth. We have mainstreamed all climate change matters in each department, and each department is also setting aside a percentage of their budget to come into climate action. So, as a county, also to do with education and training, the county has also tried to come up with sensitization and awareness programs to educate the youth on matters to do with climate change so that they can know what to do and when. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juliet. So I'll also add, because I think you and Jackson might have said the bulk of things. Maybe I'd just ask Robert if he could add to what Juliet and Jackson have said. Basically, in your opinion, as a young person, do you think the country has met its NDCs, and do you think that because we are aware that the country is currently revising the NDCs because they were set in 2015, then the 5-year timeline in 2020 we are revising NDCs. Has your county been engaged, and have young people from your county been engaged, or is the NDC concept still at the national discussion? So Robert, uh,
Thank you, Dolphin, and thank you to Juliet and Jackson. Uh, in terms of achieving, it has not fully achieved it, but we cannot say that they have not done something. With the resources available, they have done something. And also the engagement of NDC into counties. We thank the 2010 constitution has made things move to the village level uh, in terms of operations, and the engagement of NDC to the county has not really impacted much in this region, but the integration is moving on the right direction, that now the county government engages youth because, as I said earlier, the empowerment on environmental matters is still low, and many youth need to be empowered now to have the knowledge of how to move forward with environmental matters. So I will just say that we are moving on the right direction in terms of now making things available to the county in terms of funding, and also the county themselves have a plan in achieving the NDC. But mostly it has happened on the national level because, as I said earlier, Charles, that we have fewer youth environmentalists in this region. So how I wish that now we get youth being engaged on these platforms as much as they are on the higher level to come to the rural areas. Yes.
thank you very much, Jackson. And it
And
basically
maybe
gives us a picture of how. basically the national engagements are being tackled. NDCs has been, even the name nationally determined contribution. Maybe it's time for county determined contribution, or maybe you could think that as we progress on. It's quite impressive how the different counties we've had from Nakuru, Vihiga, Tana River. We apologize again on behalf of Kisumu. I think a bit of technical issues, and I'm hoping that maybe in the next series, maybe we'll talk with Charles and see how we can bring back Kisumu so that we unpack, because we also know there's a lot of great things going on in Kisumu. Just so that we don't neglect our audience, we have a few comments that I'd like to highlight from basically our followers who are following online. Uh, so let me highlight a comment from Anthony. Anthony, this is from Anthony. This is to Jackson. Jackson, I just noted from your research that Nakuru County has only two active weather stations. 11 are closed. So that's a comment from our live audience that has been addressed to Jackson. Uh, I've also highlighted the other question. This is, I think, to the rest of the panel, also from Anthony. Anthony seems to be very, very impressed by these discussions and our panelists. Can youth leaders influence policy to revive the stations as local data is important for climate change studies? So that is it. There is also one from Honorable Soviet Pembe. Uh, Madumi Robert, thank you for representing us. Those are very nice comments. There is also a comment from Richard. Climate change is a big issue. It comes with both challenges and opportunities. So I think with that, I'll give the floor to Jackson, because there's a fan of yours who's concerned about the weather stations in your county. I'd give you a chance to respond. Then after that, maybe you give your closing remarks, and then we'll also give Juliet and Robert a chance to also give their last closing remarks and closing points. So, Jackson, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. And also, I want to thank all those viewers who are watching, and especially also Anthony Mwanti for that question. And just to take you back, the nationally determined contributions, as we said earlier, what people should actually be putting their focus on is that the nationally determined contributions, their main aim or agenda was to make or to drive Kenya towards a low carbon emission economy. And their main goal was Kenya to attain a 30% or to cut their greenhouse gases emission by 30%, that is by 2030. So in reality, we cannot be able to cut our greenhouse gases emissions by 30% if we currently don't know what levels we are at. And the other question should be, do we have monitoring stations to monitor all these greenhouse gases that are actually supposed to be reduced by 30%? And that is why Nakuru County has partnered. And that's how we have a program which is known as Sustainable Energy Access and the SICAP, Sustainable Energy Access and Action Plan and Climate Change Action Plan. And our main agenda here is to put a platform whereby we can be able to monitor all these greenhouse gases emissions, so that now we can be able to tell the national government or the county government that, yes, we were at 60%, now we are at 20% or we are at 10%. So that is the only shortcoming I've seen about the NDCs. They do not cater for capacity building in terms of the counties. They only put this agenda forward by saying we need to cut our emissions by 30%, but they did not go to the grassroots and look into whether the counties have all these equipments to monitor. So that is why now we need to put this rallying call for all the researchers and the scientists on board and the county governments to partner with them so that all this monitoring can be done, especially for greenhouse gases and any other thing. Going back to the question for Anthony Mwanti, and I want to thank him so much because he has gone and looked into my research work, and he has seen that in my research, which is touching on the effects of climate variability on maize, that is on Nakuru County, he has been able to see that only 2 active stations are there among the 11, which I've highlighted there. The reason being that over the years, some of these stations have been hampered. They have had to shut down due to 1, climatic reasons, 2, financial reasons, and inconsistent data being channeled back to the Kenya Meteorological Station in Nairobi. So yes, this is one shortcoming that we have. If I compare this to the developed countries outside there, the developed countries have data that is consistent, that is timely. And the fight against climate change and environmental conservation, we need data that is timely, we need data that is consistent for the farmers and everybody concerned to access it. So this is one shortcoming that we have, but we are working towards that because everything and Rome was not built in one day. So this is one shortcoming that Nakuru County we are working towards in terms of making sure all these stations that are concerned with the data acquisition and collection, they are up to par. But for those that are active, let me say that they are doing a good job, and heck to them. And taking you back maybe to something else, let me just mention one thing before I give you my closing remarks, is that Nakuru County has been faced by this climate change issue. We are having the flooding of the lakes from Lake Nakuru, from Lake Naivasha. We are having Baringo and Bogore, they're almost meeting up. We are having Lake Elementaita, they're all flooding up. So when it comes to having data that is timely, is very important. We need climatic data at hand because most of the scientists have documented that 2020 is an El Nino year. But according to the climate projections that are there, they are saying maybe not, maybe it is. So you see, we need data that is timely because people need to regain their faith in the meteorological stations. Because nowadays they tell you tomorrow it will rain, people are going outside with gumboots, and then it becomes shiny. There's a lot of sunshine. So all these are shortcomings that need to be rectified. But we are saying we are not perfect, but we are working towards attaining all this that is required. Maybe my closing remarks are this. Maybe I can say all I can say is that the people, the only predicament that we have is that the people who actually pollute, who actually destroy the environment, are not the ones who actually pay the price. That is the only disadvantage I see, and that is the only closing remarks that I can say. And I can tell the youth that the youths are the leaders for tomorrow, and tomorrow is today. So we have been always been told we are the leaders for tomorrow. I think the tomorrow has come, and it is today. So we need to take the mantle, we need to take the charge. We should stop asking what the county or what the government can do for us, and let it be what can we do for the county or the county government as a whole. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, Jackson, for that. That's very, very good on issue of early warning signs. We could see comment from Grace institutionals, capacity and gaps, and the way they need to strengthen them. And I also like the way you talked about early warning signs, because it comes back to the use of maybe radio, to basically relay information. And that's where I think issue should come in, if I'm not wrong, National Drought Management Authority. So it should be also be interesting to know, to maybe in our future sessions, to see how maybe the NDMA, this at the county level, is working with the Ministry of Environment at these various sectors. So I think with that, I'll hand over to Robert to give his closing remarks, then we'll finish with Juliet.
Yes, thank you so much again. And I would like to say first, before I say anything else, that we look at peace and how the government engages the community, the youth groups, the county government in terms of peace and security. It's excellent. So we are also saying that the national government should use also the same channel to engage the youth groups, and everyone in terms of environmental matters. Like when we say we strengthen like what Karanja said, we should strengthen the institution. That's the same way we should do to make the youth aware of maybe NDC, to make them aware what the national government is discussing on their level, to come now to the common Mwananchi to understand now, to have that spread that gospel of not cutting trees. So it's really time now for us to be ready. Maybe if I may talk about Tana River Youth, to work towards getting now engaged in environmental and climate change matters. as I did work with Charles when I was still in the university.
Wow.
When we now Kenya is working towards the 17 SDGs, and we, the youth, came
Wow.
out in numbers to push the national governments to work on them and make sure that we achieve it. So that's the same way we should stand up and push for the environmental climate change matters to work for us. Because Jackson said we are the youth of tomorrow and tomorrow is today. And to add on that, I can say, let us take actions now, because it's not for our own safety or the generation safety, but also to live in that life of accepting and living in harmony in the environment. And also to say thank you so much for the moderators. And I really appreciate this effort of engaging youth from various counties. And I look forward for more engagement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert. And indeed, we are it's our time to take action as young people. So I think with that, I'll give over to Juliet to give maybe her closing remarks.
Thank you, Dolphin. Mine is just to challenge all of us. For Vihiga County, we have discovered very unique models in terms of climate action, and one of it is trying to work together with the pupils of primary schools, because those are our future youth too. We are trying to nurture them through trying to strengthen the 4K club 4K clubs, and in that we do things like agroforestry and natural resource management. We also do projects like providing sensitization and awareness on climate change, and through also those 4K clubs in schools, we also try to provide to them weather and climate information so that they can also disseminate to as more people as possible. And it's through the 4K club that also the Kenya Meteorological Department is thinking of also setting up weather stations in schools so that the young learners in primary schools can grow up knowing, being aware of climate change, and now in their heart have planted a seed of them being at the forefront when it comes to climate action. And I would just try to encourage the other counties to also try and come up with such active ways of also nurturing young learners in schools, even in high schools. At least as they grow up, they have a mentality of climate change, climate action, and they can really do great that way. And what Jackson talked about uncertainties when it comes to climate information services and documentation. When it comes to documentation of climate information services and feedback, yes, there is a weakness in that area, but I'm sure that as the counties develop climate information services plan, such issues are also going to be addressed right from the grassroots levels. And then he talked of uncertainties when it comes to weather information. At most times, I've worked on a project called Weather and Climate Information for like 4 years now, and I'd say that at most times those uncertainties come when you have not done enough capacity building to the farmer. Remember, those information from the meteorological department are technical, and now they need us to go to the farmer, the grassroots level, and train them on how they can interpret the information if you don't train them, then there'll be a big gap, and that means the information you send them, they won't be in a position to explain, understand, and that means the farmer won't use the information, and that is where a big source of uncertainties arise. You'll get maybe people, the community is saying, those information are not true. It's because they don't understand. But if we do more sensitization, more capacity building to those people at the grassroots level, they're going to use that information accordingly. And I think we'll get in touch too in those areas of weather and climate information. You can reach out to me. Yes. And to close that, I'd say that thank you for giving me an opportunity to be in this panel. And I'm just encouraging as more youth as possible to, and young people in Viga and other counties, to take action in climate. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Juliet, and all our panelists, Jackson, Robert. Apologies again for Enoka, technical issues. Over to you, Charles.
And sorry
Yeah,
for cutting it short. Maybe I forgot to. Sorry for that, Charles.
yes,
Sorry, just
continue.
30
Just
seconds. I need to thank a few people. I need to thank a few people who have actually been able to hold the youth at hand, and they have the youth at in Nakuru County. Let me start off by thanking the CC, that is Engineer Festus Ngeno, in the Department of Energy, Water, Energy, Environment, and also natural resources. And also let me thank the Chief Officer, that is Moredi Kyogora, who has also been able to absorb the youth at various capacities in the Department of Water, Environment, Energy, and Natural Resources. And also, let me also thank the Director of Water, that is Engineer Njuguna. And also, let me thank the Director in the Directorate of Environment, that is Madam Grace Karanja. So I think there are people who are actually absorbing the youth, and they should continue the same. Not only me, but there are so many other youths who they have absorbed. So they should continue the same, and I want to thank them so much.
thank you, Jackson, for your contribution in this session. And I'm a friend of Nakuru County. Most of my friends are there. I've worked with Kyogora, Moridi, and we are happy you're taking leadership. And Robert, we have worked with you during this DG transition. Now it's 5 years down the line. We need to measure if we are making impact in our community and what extra else we need to do. And I'm proud to hear Juliet from my home county, Vihiga. We have worked with Professor very closely, and I know the audience that is watching are very pleased with the conversation we are having, and we are going to inspire more youths to take action and to make a direction to where we want the climate action to go. And thank you, Dolphin, for putting this together. I know you have been working tirelessly to get the presenters, the hosts, the guests, and everything behind the scene technically. So we have done a good job, and I know we will make a change. One thing that we always say at Green in Kenya initiative, as Green Champion, we want to make a difference. And whatever we are doing, it has to be innovative, transformative in nature, and we have to be ambitious, show some sense of urgency, because with climate change, it will require us to rethink our strategies and actions. So we ask everyone to keep up the effort they are working on the ground, and engage more young people, as Robert has said, at the world level, to be part of this conversation, and then Once we contribute to resources locally, which will be part of our co-finance, we'll be able to attract more climate investments and funds to be able to enable us cushion ourselves with this climate change effect. So those are my closing remarks, and I'm happy to join, and we thank everyone who has been following this conversation, and we can engage beyond this meeting to go and roll out our sleeves and make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Charles. Thank you, fellow speakers. Uh, if maybe, what is the one thing, just to close this, what is the one message that if your county was watching right now, what is the one thing that, what, just one last sentence that you'd like to pass to the county government? Juliet, just one thing.
I'd one thing that Dolphin had just say, thank you to our governor, because without him, then we could not be having these frameworks in place. And then to the department, even if we've not been having a climate change department, they've been working so hard, even by mainstreaming climate change in the other departments. We have been doing some good work even without a climate change department. And I'd just like to thank also the department through Madam Alice. Yes, Alice Msuruve.
Thank you, Juliet. Robert, I don't know if you're online. What is the one thing that you'd like to tell your county government? Just one sentence in half a minute. Robert? Robert is having a bit of technical issues. Jackson, anything last closing? Second
Maybe
last,
the last
last
thing,
thing.
maybe the last thing I need to tell the county is that first of all, let me thank the governor, Kinyanjui, who has been of championing for environmental conservation. And all I can say is that they need, with the progression in time, I would wish the county would allocate more funds for the environment and climate change fight. That is all. But the direction they're heading towards, and they have in terms of green energy and all that, I give them a strong 10. Thank you so much.
Okay. Robert is back. Robert, we're giving, everyone has had a chance to say one last message to their county governments. So, Robert, since I think you've had a bit of technical issues, this is your chance to say one thing, one message that you'd like to send straight across to the county government.
Yes.
Yes, Robert, if you had one message from a young person to pass straight into the county government, what would that be? I apologize. I think Robert is having a bit of technical issues. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in today to join us in this first series. We're looking, as Greening Kenya with my colleague Charles, we're looking to launch a series of webinars that cut across all the 47 counties, and hopefully then we will also look into inter-county webinars and interaction. And with that, we are hoping that will pave way for basically the grassroots initiatives that we are seeking to launch and work, of course, with the county at the grassroots level. So I think with that, I'd like to thank all our panelists for taking time. Robert has left. Enoka was not able to. Mr. Jackson Kijadri, thank you very much. Juliet, thank you very much. My co-host, Charles, thank you very much. We urge the national and also the county governments to keep engaging young people on issues of climate change. The private sector and the CSO keep capacity building young people on issues of climate change, and let's keep creating green jobs for young people. So with that, we declare this session officially closed. Thank you.
Thank you so much.